Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese, and we are back for our NFL picks. I believe we are in week 13 or are we in week 12, Jose? Is it week 13?
Pick 13.
Week
13 it is.
13. Yes, it is. Week 13.
It's going it's going too fast.
It is going too fast. We're getting towards the end of the season, especially for fantasy. I believe that the playoffs are coming up, so this is a big week for me. Tied with a bunch of people. And for the picks, we're running out of time to catch Jose, who now has an 8-game lead over myself, 9 over Gil. And the guy who doesn't come on the show now has a 1-game lead over Jose. But Jose, for this show purpose, has the lead over us. As always, we'd like you to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Believe me, I'm going to be saying some stuff today that will elicit some response. So, guys, have a listen. Let me know what you think. As conspicuous by his absence is Gil Santos. Now, I want people to understand why Gil Santos missed this, and then I want you to comment on what you think of him and the reason why he missed this. Gil Santos is not here today because he went to go watch the Leafs. That's right. The New Jersey Devils fan got tickets from his boss and decided to watch the Leafs play the Sharks tonight. And he was going to be a Sharks fan. So I want people to understand why he missed this show. And I want you to comment and get on him for missing the show for that reason. Okay. But thankfully, we have Jose Carlos Gomes with us, and we will discuss our team, our picks, and we will have what's bothering us because there are some things that bothered me this week. And I'm sure on the world stage, we'll be talking about that later. But for now, let's get to our picks. Jose, are you ready?
Yes, of course.
All right, let's go to the Thursday nighter. The Buffalo Bills, who snuck one out against the Lions last week after some missed field goals and controversy. They go to New England to take on the Patriots, who got a very angry Minnesota team, correctly predicted by Jose. Buffalo at New England. Jose, who do you got?
It's going to be a close game. New England's going to be running the ball, but I just don't think New England has enough firepower on the offense to keep up with Buffalo. So I'm taking Buffalo, and I like Buffalo's defense against that weak New England Patriots offense. So I'm going to take Buffalo on this one.
Okay, Buffalo has owned New England unless there's been a windstorm situation, but Buffalo's pretty much owned them. However, Buffalo's been known to lose these games. They snuck away with a win against Detroit. They lost to Jacksonville last year. They had a loss to the Jets this year on the road. Josh Allen has been shaky in some games this year. This is a huge game for New England, as it is for Buffalo. But if New England wants to make the playoffs, you're going to have to win this game. So I'm going to take New England in an upset to upset the Bills. Gil has the Bills, and Anthony has the Bills as well. Hopefully, Mac Jones can repeat what he did against Minnesota, although that's unlikely. Sorry, Lino. Now we go to Anthony's team, the Tennessee Titans, who really disappointed me last week, losing to the Bengals without Jamar Chase. They go to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, who all of a sudden have a very leaky defense that managed to get away with beating Green Bay because Green Bay's defense is only worse. Jose, what do you got in this one?
Tough game to pick. They're both good defensive teams. But I'm going to take Philly at home.
Okay, so I looked long and hard at this game because I don't like either one of these teams right now in the way they're playing. And my decision on this game was based on Philly's very bad run defense in the last 3 weeks. The Titans, when they play a team that struggles against the run, they are in the game and competitive and can upset any team in the league. When they play a team that has a good run defense, like Cincinnati last week, where Henry's not in the game, they can't win. And so because the Eagles' run defense has been very bad recently, I'm going to take Tennessee to win this game over the Eagles, who have shown against Washington at home and even against the Packers, their run defense is very bad. Indy almost beat them. So I'm going to take Tennessee in an upset in this one. Gil and Anthony also have the Titans in this one. Now we go to the own game. The Green Bay Packers, who are likely to start Aaron Rodgers despite a broken thumb and an oblique injury, go to Chicago to take on the Bears, who may or may not have Justin Fields back. Uh, Aaron Rodgers is looking to keep his belt, which is the ownership of the Bears. Jose, who do you got in this one?
It all depends on Justin Fields if he plays or not. I think that's the key here. But since we don't know, I'm just gonna go with Rodgers owing the Bears, and I don't see Simeon or Peterson or whoever the other quarterback is doing anything. So I'm just gonna say Green Bay squeaks out a win. I'm taking Green Bay.
Okay, I'm going to take the Packers. Here's the problem with this game. If I had known Fields was playing and he was going to play in this game, I would take the Bears because the Green Bay rush defense is the worst I've ever seen. They gave up 362 yards rushing to the Eagles last week, and the Bears' entire offense is built on rushing the football. So if Fields is there, it's a nightmare for the Packers. But because Rodgers is likely to play, we don't know if Fields is going to play, and he has a bum shoulder. Green Bay's owned the Bears in the last 7 years, so I'll take Green Bay. All of us are on Green Bay in this one, so it's a clean sweep. If Fields plays, though, I might change my mind, even though I can't for this show's purposes. Now, yeah, that's just it all depends on Fields. If he plays and he can run, it's a different game.
You saw what Jalen Hurts did last week against Green Bay, 100 yards in the first quarter.
Like if Fields is healthy, he could break the NFL. He could break his own rushing record. Like that's how, it's going to be crazy. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who pulled a big upset against Baltimore. I remember mentioning on the show, Jose and I were discussing this, that this could be an upset. We ended up taking the Ravens, but we were very worried about Jacksonville upsetting, and they did. Now go on the road to take on the Lions, who are as unpredictable as the Jags. So good luck picking this one, folks. But Jose, who do you got in this one?
I don't know, man. This is I'm just gonna. I think the Jaguars are coming off a high after last week, and I think this is one of those trap games. I think they're gonna be. I think they're gonna struggle, and you're gonna see the real Trevor Lawrence. And I'm gonna take Detroit at home.
Okay, I'm on the Lions, but not because of Trevor Lawrence. I actually think Trevor Lawrence is growing under Peterson, and he will be better in the future. Um, Jacksonville has some injury concerns that worry me, although Detroit's defense is awful. We don't know who's running the football for Jacksonville this week. That's a concern. So I will take a fully healthy Lions team at home over the Jags, and all of us are on the Lions as well. So take that for what it's worth, guys, in a close game. Now we have the Deshaun Watson return as he returns in what I think was actually a purposeful schedule thing that the NFL did. He returns to Houston to take on the Texans. Like this wasn't a setup at all. So Cleveland at Houston, the return of Deshaun Watson to his old team. How different will the Browns be on offense? Jose, who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna take Cleveland, based on their running game and stuff like that, and their defense is playing pretty good. They played well against the Buccaneers last week. I think Deshaun Watson is going to be a big improvement in quarterback for the Browns. He can throw, he can run the ball, he can get out of pressure. So that's another weapon for them. And I think Amari Cooper, Peoples Jones, guys like that are gonna benefit with him at quarterback because now he can throw the long passes. He's a good thrower of the football. So I'm taking Cleveland in this one. I just don't think Houston's got the team to keep up with Cleveland.
Okay, so we know who's starting for Cleveland. We don't know who's starting for Houston. They went with Kyle Allen last week after Mills was terrible for a while, so we don't know who's starting. I'm taking Cleveland, but for a different reason. Houston's run defense is by far the worst in the NFL. It's even worse than Green Bay's, and they got Kareem Hunt and Chubb on the other side. So Cleveland's going to win this game because of their run game. It's not going to be because of Watson. I think they're going to want to have a very easy game plan, a very easy game for Watson. Not going to want to put too much pressure on him. He's not going to throw the ball as much as we think, and Cleveland's just going to run it down the throat of Houston. So I got the Browns because of Houston's run defense. We're also all on the Browns, guys. This is kind of getting scary. How much we agree early on here. To the New York Jets, who have a Mike White solution. Zach Wilson, as I said before, I don't want to mention anyone Wilson anymore, but I kind of have to on the show. But Zach Wilson will never see the field again for the Jets. That's just a prediction here. Mike White, who just completely dominated the Bears last week, made Garrett Wilson look like a superstar for Jose. Even with no running game, was all over the Bears. They have a bad defense, I understand, but you could just tell the difference in the Jets' demeanor and locker room. They go to take on Minnesota, who showed up last week. This is a very interesting football game. Jose, who do you got?
This is a tough game to pick, but I'm just going on based on of what I've seen so far. I'm going to take Minnesota at home. I just think they're in that playoff race to get the first overall seed, and they're playing at home. The Jets are a good team, but they don't have a running game. I think without Hall there, he's a big loss for them. So, and I can see Minnesota just maybe squeaking out a win in overtime or a last minute field goal. So I'm taking Minnesota in this one.
Okay, I got the Jets, and I got the Jets because of Mike White, and I've got the Jets because their defense is better than Minnesota's. I also have the Jets because Minnesota's pass defense is the worst in the NFL. And so Mike White, fortunately for him, got the Bears and the Vikings back-to-back weeks, and that leads to 2 victories for Mr. Mike White. So I got the Jets in this one. Gil is on the Jets, and Anthony, who's supported Minnesota all year, is on the Vikings. I guess he's not getting off that train. We'll find out later if Gil has finally given up on the Broncos, who I'm laughing at everyone about last week. Now we go to Pittsburgh, the Steelers, who made Jeff Saturday not like Mondays. We'll get to that on what's bothering us. They go to Atlanta to take on the Falcons, who you never know what team you're going to get from Atlanta. Kyle Pitts probably said, you know what? I can't play with Mariota. I'm just going to have my season-ending surgery and say goodbye, unfortunately for Jose. But they're a run-heavy offense. Pittsburgh is trying to get Pickens and Pickett going. Good luck saying those 2 names together. Jose, who do you got in this tough game?
I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. Just like the way they're playing right now. Their quarterback Pickett's and Pickens have been having a good connection together. Their defense is stepping up. You can see the difference with TJ Watt playing. The Falcons are one of those up and down teams. If they don't rush the ball, they're not going anywhere. They can't throw the ball. So I say Pittsburgh stops them and they win this game.
Yeah, I don't blame anyone for taking Pittsburgh here. I'm going to take Atlanta because they're still in the playoff race. And they're usually decent at home. Pittsburgh won at Indy last week because of a myriad of mistakes by both Matt Ryan and Jeff Saturday. Atlanta doesn't typically turn it over. They're a run-heavy offense, and so maybe they win by a field goal, but I have no confidence in this game. I'm just taking Atlanta at home because they're still in the playoff race. Gil has the Steelers, and Anthony has the Falcons. Now we get to the Gil game, which I'm very, very, I'm going to miss Gil on this one. But the Denver Broncos go to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. I tried to tell people last week, they're not beating Carolina because they're garbage. Russell Wilson is the worst quarterback in the league. If you look at his stats, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year. They want to blame Hackett, that's fine, but Wilson's been terrible all year. Now they go to play Baltimore, who has a struggling defense and a struggling passing game. So Denver's defense is good. So does that make this game tricky? Jose, what do you got?
This game is tricky, but just the way Denver's playing, you can't trust them with that offense. They have no run game. They have no passing game. The only thing that keeps them alive is that defense. So I'm gonna take Baltimore in this.
I got the Ravens. The Ravens have blown 4 double-digit leads this year. Lamar Jackson is going to have to figure that out, but they won't have a problem blowing this lead because Denver's offense is atrocious. I think the only offense that might be worse is Indianapolis. But I think even Denver trumps them. That's how bad they are. They have the worst offense in the NFL. Baltimore outscores Denver here, but it'll be a low-scoring game because Denver's defense keeps them in every game. There was an amazing stat that was brought up on one of the shows I watch. If Denver had Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater this season with their production, they would be 9-1. That's all you need to know about Russell Wilson and how bad he's been this year. I got Baltimore. We're all in the Ravens in this one. This is a big game for the Ravens. They better win this game or they're in trouble. Like they can't be messing around right now. We go to Washington, the red hot Redskins with my boy Taylor Heineke, who's now 5-1 as a starter, taking over for the disaster that is Carson Wentz, another former Colt quarterback. They go to take on the G-men, who are sliding with Mr. Daniel Jones. Jose, who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna take Washington, just based on their defense. Right now, they're playing lights out. But I think with Chase Young coming back, they're getting a lot of pressures to the quarterback. Heineke's doing his thing. They're running the ball. They're throwing the ball. The G-men are just one-dimensional. Run the football. If they stop the run, they have no passing game. Daniel Jones, you can't trust Daniel Jones throwing the ball. So I see Washington pulling out a close one.
I got the Redskins. Taylor Heineke has uplifted that locker room, has proven Ron Rivera right. This game will come down to run defense. Washington's run defense is in the top 10. They should be able to stop Barkley and force Jones to throw the football into their good secondary and Young in that front four. And the Giants struggle mightily on the run, which should lead to a lot of fantasy points for Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. So I got Washington winning this game outright. Gil also has the Redskins. Shockingly, he took Taylor Heineke. I'm going to talk to him about that later. And Malfera sticking with the G-men in this one.
It's not the Redskins, it's the Commanders, eh? You're going to get fined, eh?
I'm going to get myself in trouble, eh? I'm going to get in trouble. The Commanders, my apologies to our Indian faithful out there, okay? My native Indians, I didn't mean it, but they were called that and it's disgusting. But now they're the Commanders, okay? Now we go to the game of the week in me and Jose's mind. The Miami Dolphins and Waddle and Hill and Tua come to town with two ex-49er running backs to take on the San Francisco offense, which is pathetic right now. I'll get into what's bothering us on that. And because of that pathetic offense, this is a very tough game to pick because the 49ers secondary is a mess. And you got to face Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Our offense is a mess, but our defense is the best in the NFL. So good luck picking this game because one side's going to win it and the other side's not. Which one's going to win it? The San Francisco defense or the Miami offense? Jose, what's your best guess?
We talked about this during the week, about this game. But now thinking about it, all these comments that Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson were making about Jimmy G and the 49ers, this and that, I think that's just going to add fire to the fuel of that 49ers team. And I think Jimmy G is going to have a good game. And I think the Niners with that crazy defense, I think they'll slow. I'm not saying they're not going to stop them because they'll put up points, but I think they'll slow them down. And with the 49ers run game and stuff like that, I think they'll pull off this win. So I'm taking the 49ers just based on them talking shit. That's all.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that when players leave the 49ers, they talk shit about Jimmy G. It makes me vindicated when I talk shit about him. But I'm not going to talk shit about Jimmy G right now. I'm going to talk about this game seriously. Now, here's the question. This will be a high-scoring game, in my opinion. It could be low-scoring, but I think it's going to be high-scoring. Can Jimmy G get over 20 points in this game? That's the question. In my mind, what's not being talked about is how bad Miami's defense is. When they play decent teams, they allow a lot of points. And so I mean, they played the Bears on the road and they allowed the Bears to just run all over them and get 32 points. So the question is, that 49ers offense should be able to rip apart Miami's defense. So that made me a little bit more confident about the 49ers keeping up with them in this game. The problem is the 49ers have a lot of injuries right now. Little knick-tack injuries, little this and little that that's slowing them down. I'm going to take the 49ers because this is a game for me that's going to prove whether or not they're a Super Bowl team. And I want to cheer for them. So I'm going to take the 49ers. This is a big test for Jimmy G because to me, Tua's not any better. He just has better weapons. But to me, Jimmy G has as good weapons as he does. So this is a big test for Jimmy G. He has to go and beat Tua here. Okay, so
He's
I'll
been
get
playing well lately.
yep.
He hasn't been
I'll
turnovering.
give
He's no turnovers lately.
yep.
So
I'll
you can. He's been doing his thing,
yep.
and that I just think Kyle Shanahan better start calling
Yeah,
the
we're
games a little bit
we're
better.
we're gonna
Well,
talk about that.
last week it was because McCaffrey had a knee injury, and Eli. Then they lost Eli Mitchell too, so
Yeah.
it was tough for them too. But yeah, we'll see how it goes this
Yeah.
week.
We'll talk about that on what's bothering us, but it's like Jimmy G not turning over is great, but he also can't be too conservative. Against this team, he's not going to get away with throwing for 200 yards on 15 passes. He's going to have to be a little more aggressive to keep up with that offense if they get to our secondary. So I think this will be a high scoring game, and Jimmy G is going to have to keep up like they did against Kansas City, or they couldn't do against Kansas City. But I'll take the 49ers. Anthony and Gil, not surprising, they have the Dolphins. Now we go to the ugly games of the week as we see the Seabags who have come back down to earth. They take on the LA Rams. Uh, the Seabags defense in particular came down to earth last week, being absolutely shredded by Josh Jacobs, who had a mixing week. The Rams don't have a quarterback, and they don't have any receivers, and they don't have any running backs. So therefore, I have the Seabags. Jose?
I agree with you. I think LA's in shambles right now. They don't have nobody. Everybody's hurt. I think they're just gonna play out the season the way they have it right now. I don't think Stafford's gonna play any more games. Cooper Cup's probably gonna be shut down for the rest of the season.
Hmm.
The run games, they have no running game. The Cam Akers, like, you can't depend on him. He hasn't even rushed for over like 50 yards, and I don't remember in any of the past games that he's played. So I'm taking Seattle.
Not to add insult to injury, guys. Aaron Donald's also out for this game. It should be a field day for Walker and Geno Smith in this one. We're all on the sea bags. I might make this my lock of the week, but I'll have to see what the line is. The LA Chargers, who continue to baffle me, but they're getting better. They go to Vegas to take on the Raiders, who also continue to baffle me. I don't know what to expect from either one of these teams. But since Josh McDaniels was told he was doing a great job at 2-7, they're 2-0, I believe, since then. So go figure. Jose, who do you have in this confusing game?
Um, it was. It all depends. If I know, you know what? I'm gonna take LA Chargers. I just think with Keenan Allen coming back, uh, with Eckler, uh, um, Williams is supposed to come back this week as well. I think the Chargers are starting to get a little bit healthier, and it's going to give more weapons for Herbert to throw the ball around. So I'm taking the LA Chargers. I think last week Jacobs had a breakout game, but I don't think he's going to do that against that Chargers defense. I don't think the Chargers defense are not a bad run defense. So I'm taking LA Chargers in this one.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with Jose on this one, and I'm going to give the reasons why. I have Vegas in this game. The Chargers defense has been awful this year. Their run defense is fifth last in the NFL, which is 27th, allowing 150 yards a game. Josh Jacobs is going to have a field day, which is going to lead to the play action for Adams and the rest of the boys. I got the Chargers. I got the Raiders winning this game just because of their bad defense. The Chargers were lucky to beat Arizona last week, who has no offense whatsoever. So I've got I've got Vegas because their run defense is awful, which is going to lead to Derek Carr having a better day. So I'm going to take the Vegas in this one. Um, Gil and Anthony are on the Chargers for this one. So big game for the Chargers too. They got to win these games, but I'm going to take Vegas. To a rematch of the AFC Championship game, which in most people's minds should be a revenge game. It's Kansas City at Cincinnati this time instead of Cincinnati at Kansas City. Jamar Chase is returning for the Bengals. I'm not sure about Joe Mixon. Kansas City continues to wow people with their ways of winning games. I believe that Patrick Mahomes will likely be the MVP. We'll see. It's a close three-man race. Jose, who do you got in this revenge game rematch of the AFC Championship?
I don't know, man. It's another tough game to pick. They're both high offensive teams. I'm just gonna go with KC. I just think KC is getting no credit on defense. I think their defense is not bad at all. And they have Mahomes, and I have him as my quarterback for my fantasy team, so I need him to have a good game, him and Kelsey. So I'm gonna take KC in this one.
Yeah, Casey's defense is middle of the pack. They haven't they haven't really played great offenses other than Buffalo like all year. And
Yeah,
so that
and they played well. They only allowed 20 points against them?
24 and they allowed I think 31 to Tampa Bay and 31 to San Francisco. So when they've played decent teams, their defense has been opened up. The Chargers have scored a bunch of points on them. So I think that's why their defense has been questionable, but it's in mid pack, and you have to give credit where credit's due. The Kansas City wins because of Patrick Mahomes. There's no other reason. I like what I saw from Cincinnati last week. They're getting Chase back. I don't know about Mixon, but Cincinnati's going on that late season run. God, this is a tough game. I was KC all week, and I switched, and I put Cincinnati on my sheet. I'm going to stick with Cincinnati. I'm going to take the Bengals. I just think KC's due for a bad road game where they lose on the road. They lost to Indy earlier this year on the road, so this is one of those games where they might just slip up. So I'll take Cincinnati. Gil and Anthony are on Kansas City in this one. I'm not going to waste any time on this game at all. We'll talk about it on what's bothering us. The Indianapolis Colts are going to Dallas. I have the Cowboys.
I have the Cowboys too.
I don't need to explain why. I have the Cowboys. Gil and
I feel sorry for Ryan.
Yeah, but Matt Ryan may not make it out of this game with his career. He might, like Parsons, might end his career. We might see Sam going to Texas. And
the only thing that's gonna save him is probably that run game with Jonathan Taylor. But the way he's been running the ball there, I don't see anything special either. So it's gonna be a tough game.
If Indy's smart, they run the ball like 40 times in this game because Dallas struggles against the run. But knowing the way that they run their offense, Matt Ryan will turn it over and they're going to get pumped. So I got Dallas. We're all on Dallas in this one, and we hope that Matt Ryan career is not ended by Parsons. But for Sam Ehlinger's case, since he's a Texas boy, maybe he wants him to get in there, play in Texas, you know? Now we go to a team that these two teams, I hate these two teams. New Orleans is going to Tampa Bay. I said it all year long. Tom Brady, who I'm the biggest Tom Brady fan in the world, ask Jose. I love Tom Brady. He has struggled all year with consistency. He has not played well. Tampa Bay has been inconsistent and struggled all year on offense, and it bit them in the ass playing the Browns last week. They play a New Orleans defense who owns Tom Brady. This is a tougher game than you might think, even though New Orleans is pathetic on offense. Jose, who do you got?
I don't know. I just don't trust the New Orleans offense right now. They're with Dalton. I don't understand why they don't go back to Jameis Winston.
I don't get it. I don't
you
get it.
See that you're not winning with Dalton as your quarterback. Why don't you just give Winston a chance? The guy lost his starting job because of an injury. The code is always when you lose your job because of an injury, you always get your job back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So yeah. I just think, and I the the Bucks have been struggling, but there's games that the Tom Brady has played well in, and I think this is one of the games Monday night. They need the win. I think he's gonna play big game this week, and I think they're gonna take the W against the New Orleans Saints. I'm taking the Bucks.
This will be a low scoring game, folks. If you want to lock, the under's a lock. It's going to be a low scoring game. The problem with New Orleans last week was fumbles on the goal line. Alvin Kamara's had a terrible season outside of 1 or 2 games. He fumbled on the goal line, and that changed that entire San Fran game. Um, Brady, when he did come back, said he had unfinished business, and I believe that beating New Orleans was on that list. And so I think he'll be a little more motivated to win this game. I'll take Tampa Bay, but I have no faith in the Bucks going anywhere this year against teams like San Francisco or Dallas. We will find out next week about San Francisco because they're going to go to Tampa Bay, which will tell me a lot about my team. But I'm going to take Tampa Bay this week at home because New Orleans offense is an embarrassment, and I don't know why they continue to start Andy Dalton. We're all on Tampa Bay. Looks like we have no other choice. They're 5-6, but they should beat New Orleans. So those are our picks for this week. Please make sure you let us know who you like and let us know what you think of Gil missing this show and his reason for missing this show. Those are our picks. We will be back with what's bothering us. I'm sure we're going to have lots to talk about there from all subjects, i.e. the World Cup, some hockey, some football, and in my case, what annoys me more than what bothers me. We'll also find out what Jose has. Maybe we'll hear about his trip to Buffalo, see if something bothered him over there, you know? So that might be on my list for what's bothering me too, but I don't want to give it away. So until then, I'm the mouth of North Andrews. That's Jose Carlos Gomes. We will see you soon on the next Reese Report.